Ladies and gentlemen, we are right back. While, of course, our session timings might coincide with your lunch break, but the good part of our virtual gatherings is that we can multitask, right? So I hope you're enjoying every bit of it. With that, allow me to introduce to you all our panel topic, the discussion topic, which is with digitization. How do we really strengthen the omni-channel customer experience? So no more waiting over here. Let's climb the crest as we get talking with our finest minds. That is our panelists. So allow me to please welcome Sandra de Zoysa, the Group Chief Customer Officer from Dialog Axiata PLC, that is formerly known as MTN Networks. Welcome, Sandra. With that, we'll also be welcoming Anand Tuli, the Head of Customer Experience and Data Analytics from Vedantu. Let's also say hello and welcome to Dhruba Chowdhury, the Global Quality Leader, Community Operations from Uber. Well, we'll also be joined by Sharatee Ghosh, the Senior Executive Vice President, Customer Experience Center and Virtual Relationship from Kotak Mahindra Bank. Wow, what a leading set of panelists really joining us. With that, also allow me to warmly usher in Bharath Vaidyanathan, the Senior Director, Data Analytics and Campaigns, Hansa Cequity, welcoming you with a round of cheer. Let's also welcome Pankaj Bajaj, the Solution Sales Manager, Customer Workflows, Servicenow. Well, the session will be moderated by Shounak Gadre, the Partner Front Office Transformation from PwC India. And Shounak, I hope here you are refreshed and re-energized after your lunch, hoping that. And with that, we are hungry for some insights. So over to you.
Sure. Thanks so much, Shikha. I think it's going to be a tough act to follow. I think all the morning sessions, it's been really exciting to kind of, have listened in on them. And I think just kind of, let me start off with the topic. Like you said, Shikha, rightly, it's a eminent set of panel members we have here and a very rich experience across the board, and would really be excited to listen in on everybody's views today. So, let's start with the topic. And there are multiple definitions of customer experience, and in fact, we heard one right before this one as well. One of the definitions which we subscribe to typically is about the cumulative, distinctive, and meaningful memories which an organization can create and then harvest for value creation. Now, that's how we look at customer experience. But I just wanted to spend a few minutes and take views, Sandra, first from you, and possibly Pankaj from you, in terms of how you would look at customer experience, what that really means for you.
So thank you for that. I think we've heard lots of definitions and they all sound really quite perfect to me. But the simplest, most form of definition for customer experience that I use with most everyone, and that's simple to understand and remember, is that back in the days, the old days, we used to talk about customer service, and customer service was predominantly looking inside out. It was based on service levels, what we can do, what we can deliver, how we can do it based on our resources, and so on. To me, customer experience is about looking outside in. When, as organizations and as professionals, we decide and we choose to take a view of service and to take a view of your company and your products and services that you offer from the customer's point of view, the way the customer views it, and the way you would see yourself as a customer walking in his shoes, using your own company's products and services. That to me is about customer experience, because when you can put yourself in the customer's shoes, when you can take a customer persona, that's when you're truly aligned to not looking firstly at your own priorities and your organization and what you can, what business benefits you can have. It is better to first look at how the customer first benefits, and based on that, then set your organization around it. So to me, that's my definition of it.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Sandra. I think, as they always say, it's the most elegant and simple view, which is the most, brings the maximum clarity. And thanks for sharing that. Pankaj, if I may also ask you to share your reflections and from a B2B standpoint, because I think customer experience typically gets spoken in a very end consumer perspective, but I know it's very critical even in key accounts and kind of large many to many relationships. So, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, thanks, and a very good afternoon to all of you. And it's great to be a part of such an eminent panel. And I've always had the privilege to be a part of customer experience, customer service over the last 20 plus years. To put it very objectively, Shounak, customer experience, I would rather put it into three parts. One is in terms of giving the customers the ability to either connect, engage, or possibly express their views through the channels of their choice. So they're connecting it to what they are comfortable. That's part one of the story. Part two is in terms of basically bringing the people process and the technology part of it, just to make sure that we are able to drive the right outcome for the customer. So that's the element number two as far as customer experience is concerned. And element number three of customer experience is all about having that digital. Basically right now we are communicating digitally, but also giving that personalized experience if required. Okay, whether it is in terms of any kind of assisted service or whether it is some kind of special needs. So basically, if I were to put just to sum it up, basically one is the engagement, the operations part of it, and basically that personalized service. The sum total of these three objectively put together is actually what we feel is the true sense of customer experience. Naturally, every industry, Sharatee is from the banking industry, and all the eminent panelists over here, they are all from different. Naturally, the customer experience, the way they are measured, are different for different industries. Okay, but effectively, if we were to look at the final outcome, what is it that we are wanting to achieve? It's basically that happiness of the customer. The customer experience, it's all about he gets what he deserves, what he's asking for at that point of time, so that he can still continue to engage with the company or the brand in a much more effective way.
Great. Thanks so much, Pankaj, for sharing that. And I think I see a lot of coherence between what Sandra mentioned and what you mentioned, is really thinking of it from a customer's point of view, thinking of it customer back rather than company service or product forward. And I also heard both of you mention multiple times that it's about the engagement throughout the journey. It's about looking at what processes we need to put in place, which probably the entire organization needs to follow. And kind of that takes me to the next point of discussion of saying, is it just at a single point of time, or is it only at the end or only post purchase which we need to look at? Is typically customer experience only relevant in a service scenario, or in your experience, is it something which starts right from consideration to evaluation to the actual purchase process? And how does customer experience really manifest itself throughout the journey? And that's something which I probably wanted to kind of get some discussions going about. If I could probably ask Dhruba to maybe share your thoughts, and then also followed by Sharatee, if you could share your views on this aspect.
Thank you, Shounak. I think it's a very relevant question, right? At Uber, we believe in meeting the psychological need of our users, right? I mean, that's basically what customer experience to us is all about. So about anything in their life that is available in our platform, we should be their automatic choice. So I mean, to us, that is kind of what experience should look like. That is what brand stickiness and loyalty should look like. So yeah, to your point, it's end to end, and it starts even before consideration. Like the moment psychologically, as a new customer, you feel a need, and then as a repeat customer, you get enticed towards our product, is something that we define as customer experience. We identify that as the starting point of the journey, and obviously there is no end point to it, because we believe that a true form of customer experience is a journey that is vicious in nature, that is circular in nature, especially because the kind of products that we deal in are perishable. So that's kind of how we at Uber defines the end-to-end customer experience journey.
Fantastic. And I think it's it's really kind of a paradigm kind of change in terms of saying, even before consideration, the moment you think of availing a service, that's when you should think of Uber. So thanks, Dhruba, for kind of sharing that thought. With that, Sharatee, can I kind of request you to share your views on how you look at customer experience throughout the journey, and what you could kind of, give your views on that.
Yeah, thanks, Shounak. I would actually like to build on Dhruba's point. I think when we are looking at empowering an experience-based culture, it's important to get a measure in place and then drive it relentlessly. And this measure can be a CSAT, it can be an NPS, it can be the much talked about customer effort score, and then have some experience-driven KPIs on this. I feel at awareness stage, important for us to look at app ratings on the Google Play and the App Store, the reviews and feedback on social media platforms, forums, and the other sites that are there. At purchase, NPS, reasons why most customers contact the support center or the contact center or the chat are important, specifically if the purchase has many journeys involved. And at repeat, cross-sell, upsell stage, I think measuring the customer lifetime value helps to understand the value of investing in the long-term relationship with customers, because otherwise I think as customer experience professionals, we struggle to get in the investments because the metric and the numbers need to be shown to the organization time and time again. Of course, retention, switch rates, active customer volumes is stuff that I see brands doing. I feel if these things are also added, it helps pushing customer experience from an art to a science.
Great. Around it kind of becomes very critical. It can't be the job of only the customer experience or the customer service department, so to say. That's something which the organization really has to stand for. And the customer promise goes a long way in kind of defining what experiences I will deliver once you live through those, building up on that loyalty, and then obviously kind of driving repeat sale and better revenue. So thanks for sharing that perspective. Interestingly, I think Dhruba, obviously clearly Uber kind of works on a platform which is kind of cutting edge, and Sharatee, you also spoke about how technology becomes important to start delivering the right customer experience. And I wanted to kind of, just get some thoughts going around that. So whether it is in the services industry, right from travel services to financials to kind of any sort of OTT kind of services, I think the use of technology in terms of delivering the right customer experience and customer delight can't be spoken about, less. I mean, it's kind of completely ubiquitous in terms of how technology is used to deliver that. And we are seeing that not only in the new age industries, but also in some of the traditional industries, we are seeing the use of technology in terms of creating a single view of customer, the way you respond to customers, and therefore really maximizing the experience. So I just wanted to get, some thoughts going from the panel in terms of saying how does really technology create a paradigm shift in terms of the way customers start anticipating and expecting a certain experience of working with your organization, and how our organization kind of delivering on that. And if I could ask Anand to kind of start off and share your perspectives, when that you are in a very complete technology enabled service delivery model and dealing with fairly young and bright minds of today. If you could share your thoughts on how you see technology playing an important role, you could kind of get your views, and then later I'll ask Dhruba also the same question.
Sure, Shounak, and the question couldn't be more relevant in current age, right? And as you rightly mentioned, right, coming from an industry where almost 95-98% of the customer journey happens online, right? Technology definitely plays the maker and breaker kind of a role for delivering customer experience, right? So at Vedantu, for example, if I'll take Vedantu's example, right, there are two primary tech stacks which we have, right? There are two primary set of technologies which we kind of focus on, right? One is which is very, very core, which is delivering learning engagement, which is personalized learning experience for every student, right? And the second one is, of course, delivering learning outcome, which is unleashing the potential of every child, right? Now, just to put this in context, think from the perspective that close to 3 million students, Shounak, interact with our app, with our platform every month, right? And those students range from class 1 to class 12, right? And their outcome, their expectations from the platform with respect to why are they coming and how are they engaging, that changes, right? Depending on who when are they interacting and what they are interacting for, right? Now, as I said, from a technology standpoint, there's a core technology which is the Wave platform, the platform through which most of the live tutoring happens, right? And primary aspect of that particular technology, right, is to enable both engagement and learning outcome for the students day in day out, right? So student buys it once and they take almost hundreds of classes with us. How can we engage student with every class? How can we ensure that that learning outcome and the learning is getting delivered to those particular students? And there's a lot of other set of technologies which enables Wave to be able to do. So that's one part. That is the academic tech stack, as we call it. Beyond that, then there is a non-academic tech stack, which is everything related to marketing, sales, customer service, dealing with understanding customer journeys, enabling personalization within their journeys, right? Beyond academics, right? That is where it comes in, right? Now, if you'd ask me, right, that is the value proposition which we deliver with respect to with if you compare online versus offline, right? Ability to understand customers, who are our customers, and how are they engaging with us, understanding at a personalized level in terms of how can we ensure that we are able to deliver on the promises or their expectations, right? Our promises or their expectations well, and improve on that particular experience. So from our perspective, I mean, that's pretty much the job to be done for us.
Fantastic. I mean, it's completely all pervasive, I think, right from, like you said, I caught on a couple of points, 3 million students every month. And like you rightly said, from class 1 to class 12. So it's a completely kind of integrated journey, if I may kind of use that phrase, for students going from, the first class, and so on. And secondly, I really, what hit home was there's a continuous expectation of the students to kind of have something more exciting, more challenging. And
Right.
it's almost kind of keeping in pace with that is a job which technology has to do. So, I mean, that's really quite mind-boggling. Thanks, Anand, for sharing your views. Dhruba, if I could ask your views on how technology plays a very critical role for you, and your overall thoughts on that.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer that we, being a technology company, we kind of use it heavily. So, couple of things, right? Like just before this session, Rohit from Google was talking about creating moments, right? And then I think Sharatee mentioned about customer effort score. So we take those two things in creating magical experience for our users. So, I mean, the idea is that whenever you open the app, basis if you are trying to order for a transport, like anything on mobility, we assess your location and we do in milliseconds your history of from that location, generally where do you go and generally what products you use, and we kind of put them in your search so that generally within minimal number of clicks you can actually select the product that you wish to select, right? So that's one. For food we do the same thing. Even we try and match the day and time, like let's say on a Thursday evening. For in India we don't have our delivery business, but it is there in other countries. Like if you're if you're opening the app on a Thursday evening, and generally on Thursday evening you order momos, so you will see the option of momos first, right? I mean, again, the idea is that like you should consider Uber as your mom, personal assistant, friend in disguise, whatever, who is really predicting what makes you happy and creating that moment without you putting any effort to it. So that's how we try and use technology to really kind of psychologically makes you feel Uber as part of your day in, day out life. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Fantastic. No, I think it kind of ties back to the point you made earlier about really responding to the deep-rooted psychological triggers and using technology to drive intelligence, which can then be delivered in the form of great customer experience. So thanks for sharing that. Now, if I may kind of take that cue to also look at some of the more traditional companies, and when I say traditional, I mean which are not primarily data or which are not primarily digital. And if I look at in today's day and age, if I have to kind of purchase consumer durables, if I have to kind of purchase a financial product, right? I mean, inherently the journey which a customer follows is a multi-channel journey. It's probably an online a research online, kind of visit the store, in the store, do a search on Amazon of saying, what is the price Amazon is giving me vis-a-vis what you're giving me, and then actually placing the order either right there, and then expecting the delivery to be kind of made, and so on. So I think we have seen companies already kind of look at journeys as being multi-channel, but clearly it is also evolving to a place where it is now becoming a seamless omni-channel piece, which customers are expecting from an organization, and it has become a par for the course. It is kind of almost the right to play. It's not even the right to win in your markets. So with that, I just wanted to get views from Bharath, you, and from Sharatee as to how you were seeing this. Sharatee more as a practitioner, Bharath more as somebody who's seen other companies and analyzed those journeys. So Sharatee, if I may request you to kind of share your thoughts on how multi-channel has transitioned to omni-channel, and Bharath, if you could kind of cap it off.
So, I represent banking, so let me take you through payments. The two pillars are convenience and safety, and the drivers of an enhanced customer experience. So while customers crave the ability to be liberated from the security risks associated with cash payments and speedy checkout processes, they still expect the process to be secure. And that is where I think the transition from multi to omni needs to happen. Realistically, if you look at where we fit in, nobody wakes up in the morning desperate to make a payment. But we do wake up wanting a new gadget, the latest book, or to refill the fridge with groceries. So the ideal payment process and the transition from multi to omni for a customer needs to be invisible. It needs to happen without any obvious interaction with any payment application, but has to give peace of mind to the customer. I think the main journey here, apart from the technical aspect, is we need to switch from IQ to EQ to understand what is it the customer's feeling at that point in time, and bring in the emotion in the customer journey. How? By making verbiages clear, by giving the next best action, and by ensuring that at every stage there is a comfort factor. And I think we all over-index on having very, very bright tech people who build our apps. I think there is a need for emotionally intelligent people who serve as translators between customers and the complexities of the opportunities which are uncovered by all the new technologies.
Fantastic. Thanks for those thoughts, Sharatee. I think the way you were able to articulate about the role of emotional intelligence in tying everything together, I think that's kind of really insightful. Thanks for that, Sharatee. Bharath, if I may also ask your views on this topic.
Yeah, sure. Shounak, first of all, thanks for the opportunity to be part of this esteemed panel. One thing we need to understand is that different companies are at different stages of maturity in their CX journey, and each one needs to find a model that works best for them. There is definitely no one-size-fits-all solution that will work for everyone. And across the industries that we work with, which includes BFSI, retail, auto, pretty much all the major industries, we see different companies adopt different approaches, possibly a blended approaches as well. If you typically are a company with only physical presence, the obvious next step is to provide more alternatives to your customers. So we see a lot of companies open digital channels and move to multi-channel. Many already had it in their pipeline, but possibly COVID just hastened that process. Being multi-channel and providing multiple options to customers is obviously great, but it's also a double-edged sword, right? Unless you plan for it carefully. While every interaction at each touch point is an opportunity to delight the customer, there are that many more chances for things to go wrong, right? That's because typically in a multi-channel kind of organization, a lot of what we find is each channel operates independently. It's managed by different teams. each of them have their own targets, right? So in a sense, different channels are competing with each other for the same customer, right? So the transition from a multi-channel to omni-channel is critical. Typically, what we've seen is that move from single channel to multi-channel, that transition happens a bit faster. The transition from multi-channel to a connected customer experience, that takes a bit of a time. And that's because the integration between diverse channels, systems, technologies, processes, alignment of people, all of these need to come together. And that's where we typically see the ball gets dropped.
Fantastic. I think you make a great point, Bharath. I've kind of, seen this personally where typically the online business starts off almost like like a startup within an established company, and then it's competing with the traditional distribution and the trade channel. And then there's also a whole hassle between, is it kind of something which has to be housed within marketing, within sales, within the IT department. And I think what that translates into is often while there are journeys, these are multiple kind of possibly sometimes broken journeys, and therefore converting that from a different channels to a multi-channel to a connected omni-channel experience, like you rightly said, is something which organizations take some time to move to. And in fact, that brings me to my next topic of saying that when there are companies being pushed into omni-channel, like Bharath said, due to the pandemic, it kind of became something which is you don't have an option, but you have to go omni-channel. Maybe you are not completely ready. There are dynamics around, what is the level of maturity of IT vis-a-vis the rest of the organization. And again, there are multiple channels chasing the same customer. Technology can kind of, play a great role in terms of either bringing it all together, but it requires a very, very strong mindset and by the IT leadership supported by the business leadership. At the same time, adoption, kind of ongoing issues can kind of, also deter some organizations away from taking this plunge. So, we just wanted to throw this topic open to the panel saying, technology adoption as it relates to driving customer experience. What's the link do you see? The adoption internally by your channel, by your ecosystem, creating the right experience for your customer. So Anand, if I could kind of, ask you to share your thoughts, and again, Bharath, if you could kind of, cap it off with your thoughts, that would be really helpful.
So, Shounak, again, when it comes to technology, right? Usually, the way I see it, technology is a means to end, right? Technology is not the solution itself, right? Since we are talking about customer focus and customer experience, right? Usually, the objective which we are trying to, as an organization or as a function or as a team for that matter, right? The technology would only be able to help you as much as, based on, what kind of goals are you trying to fulfill, right? A few case in point would be you're trying to bring more scalability, right? You're able to bring personalized experience to 1,000 or 10,000, 10% of your customer base. You want to extend it to 100% of your customer base. Bring more reliability, right? Day in, day out, across customer journey, across different interactions. You want to bring in much more reliability to that, right? You want to go more smart, right? More personalized for that, right? And that is where technology comes into picture, right? And so on and so forth, right? Understanding customers better, for example, right? Creating those personalized journeys and personalized interactions for them, right? Giving more channels, right? So the way I see it, Shounak, as far as organization, teams and functions, they are sure in terms of what kind of objective they have in mind and how does it, map to overall organization objective for this quarter, for this month, for this year, or for the decade, right? That is where technology adoption more becomes the means to reach those objectives rather than just technology adoption as it in itself becomes.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Sure. Thanks, Anand, for the thoughts. Bharath, you'd like to kind of add on to that and give your perspective?
Yeah, sure, Shounak. While we try to make sense of the customer journey by looking at it in a linear, structured way, right? Awareness and consideration, trial, purchase, and so on. It's much more convoluted than that. Dhruba also mentioned that point. providing a connected customer experience is not an easy task, right? It requires a seamless integration of strategy, data, digital, analytics, and so on. And of course, technology is the backbone for all this. And let's flesh out the details. Say, for example, a financial service company or a retail company, for example, wants to personalize and give a customized recommendation to its customers. What all does it require? First of all, it requires a customer single view, right? By integrating data from all these different sources and create a single source of truth or a single repository or a foundation. You need a CRM engine to engage with customers better during the journey. You need a lead management systems to acquire and nurture leads. The different leads require different kinds of intervention. You might require chatbots to engage with customers and solve customer service issues. Marketing automation plays an important role. You need a campaign management framework to connect that last mile of reaching out to the customers. You need content management. You need to measure all this. You need business intelligence, visualization, dashboards for providing insights and so on. Of course, all organizations may not require all of these things, but you definitely need an ecosystem or a stack to provide this personalized experience on a consistent basis, right? And a lot of thought needs to go while assembling the stack, right? It's not just about purchasing the best tool in each area, right? If I might take a cue from sports like football or cricket, we know that the 11 best players need not necessarily form the best team, right? A great team is much more than that. It's the ability of everyone to come together as a team seamlessly. The same analogy would work here as well. Creating a stack, the various elements of a stack need to be able to work seamlessly with each other, be able to integrate with each other and provide complementary benefits. Another common mistake a lot of companies make is to fall for this shiny object syndrome. Right? Many companies start with making a product purchase because it looks attractive and then try to figure out how to leverage it. Dhruba also made that point. Always start with the customer strategy and then evaluate your tech stack and see how it fits into your overall strategy. Technology at the end of the day is just an enabler. It cannot compensate for a poor product or for a lack of a coherent customer strategy.
Great. Thanks so much, Bharath and Anand, for your thoughts on that. And I think as I kind of try and tie this together, one I can't help but speak about one more aspect which I think personally is very critical, because in our experience when we try and advise companies on their strategy, on their tech strategy, on their go-to-market, we often see that unless there is a buy-in and there is a sponsorship from the top leadership, and unless leaders walk the talk, this kind of the change doesn't happen. And in that regards, I just wanted to kind of request Sandra and Pankaj your views on saying that what role do you feel really the top management plays in terms of making sure that every department is thinking of customer experience. Technology is used more as a means to an end. We are measuring the right metrics which are in line with the organization KPIs and are investing the kind of money, effort, manpower which is required to be able to actually deliver the right customer experience, and then put that into a very virtuous cycle. So Sandra, if I could request you and Pankaj to follow up on that, in terms of what role do you see leadership really playing in this entire tech-enabled CX improvement journey?
So you're very right, Shounak, in saying that the senior leadership team has got to walk the talk. In my own experience, in like 2-3 decades working just within customer experience, customer service, this has been the most difficult. The buy-in, even right from the top, has not been forthcoming, and it's mostly been paying lip service to this whole aspect. But for me, I find in the entire career of many decades now, I finally feel that my voice has been heard, and that my work from 2-3 decades have actually paid off. because I've been singing that same song for the last 30 years, 24 in the company I'm currently working at, about, customer service, customer experience, about putting customer at the center of what we do. Customer centricity and customer centric organizations are an easy thing to talk about, but to actually get down to it, to do it, that's quite a different challenge. So what we've done is, where we are at now is, the senior leadership team, starting from the CEO, has pledged, and in fact our customer value number 1 is called Service from My Heart. We call it SFH for short. This is our service ethos. This is what we have trained for very many years now, to get the buy-in, to get the awareness created, to have everyone across the company understand what customer experience is about and why it is important to us as an organization, and that is our main value proposition. So of the many years we've spent, even conducting awareness training programs, getting champions set up at the various different functions within the organization. So we have service champs across all of our verticals, and now we are in this place where all of our projects related to, it's almost like everyone understands that everyone's working for customer experience, right? Because customer experience is everyone's job and not the job of the service department or the service people. Now, this, I think no one ever understood, but right now, a lot of companies and organizations, are really doing well with this thought, and ourselves as well. So now everyone can walk this talk, and we have KPIs set up, which are common KPIs. Our projects are cross-functional, very, very matrixed in nature. And any customer service project has an engineer, even, sometimes legal, finance, and so on. Everyone working in one agile team, close team. So now everyone seems to understand each other, and they're working towards this common purpose. And in that common purpose, it's like, what is it for the customer? What are we trying to achieve? And all of them also across, now we publish a customer experience index for all our CXOs and -1s and so on. And aspects of customer effort score, we have a happiness index, we have the usual NPS and CSAT and all of that. We've sort of published these and the NPS related to each one's area as well, whether it be tech or IT or finance and so on. And we do this on a daily basis. So we have a dashboard that you can drill down to and have a look at. And therefore, everyone's now bought into it. Everyone's really keen. And more than that, from our team at Customer Experience, we're also ensuring that there's a lot of engagement and momentum around this theme of service from my heart, right? So people understand that, so the theme is service from my heart is about, my passion and your smile, which means if I bring passion to my work in serving customers, to see our customers smile at the end of every interaction with our organization, then we've done good, then we've done right. And automatically the effort score, the NPSs will improve, and then profit will come. So it has to be people before profit, and technology as an enabler only. It's a means to an end, and not the end in itself. So, so that I think is something that everyone's understood and bought into and is working well for us. So it's both ways. It's top down, it's employees and everyone coming together towards this common purpose and goal and achieving that.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Sandra. I think very kind of in-depth kind of analysis of how leadership really needs to drive it. So I appreciate that. In fact, I've also seen many companies now starting to publish metrics around NPS, return on experience, in their annual reports, because they clearly see that as something which will help them improve how the market sees them and translates into a financial impact. Actually, I know it's an extremely passionate topic, and I think we kind of have spent almost half an hour. Pankaj, if you could kind of maybe cap it off briefly and kind of share your views on how you see leadership playing this role in terms of driving customer experience, and then we can wrap it up after that.
Yeah, thanks, Shounak. And I completely agree with Sandra, because when she said that, customer experience is not just the job of only the customer service or the customer experience department, it is a completely an ownership. And at Servicenow, we strongly believe that. And when we say that making the world of work better for people, we strongly believe that. And how our leadership has actually done is they've actually created that very strong culture within the organization, wherein we represent the customers internally within the company. We own the customers, and that is something which is very, very important. We have been given all the rights, all the privileges in terms of making sure that, one, the voice of the customer is heard, but two, more importantly, we carry that voice of the customer very, very strongly internally within the organization. So that building that culture is something which is very, very important. And we kind of live with it day in and day out. Yeah, thanks, Shounak.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. I must extend really my warm thanks to each of the panel members for sharing such a detailed and insightful set of comments on customer experience. I think we heard topics right from how we need to start thinking about it even before the consideration stage. We heard about how it has to be a culture and a way of life, and it has to link to metrics which really matter for the organization, and how technology is an inextricable part of this journey. So I hope the audience also finds it insightful. And with that, I'd kind of like to thank everyone and hand it back to you, Shikha.
Thank you very much, Shounak, and all my dearest panel members. Thank you for helping us with your thoughts on the omni-channel journey as one takes care of the customer centricity at the same time. So I think delivering the personalized CX through that touch of glass, of course, is the way forward. And on that note, inviting all my panel members to be a part and watch the rest of the sessions coming up. And ladies and gentlemen, on that note, while we earnestly appreciate your electronic presence with us for the remaining few hours of this very immersive experience as well, the next session is on an exclusive subject. Stay tuned to know. I'll be right back.